with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Good evening or good morning or good afternoon whenever you're listening to this. Today we have a special treat for you on Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf. Today we're talking about a little bit about Centrix, a spinning, jumping, bumping 3D tabletop game. And tonight we're lucky enough to have on the creators and masterminds behind this game, Corey and Richard. Is that correct? Is that how you guys fit into line with the game Centrix?
That's exactly it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, creators for sure, masterminds, I don't know about that, but, you know, we bumbled through it and we made it through it.
Well, there you go. That's all that counts. That's good. So let's rewind a little bit if we could first off, a little bit of history or whatnot. And we don't have to go back all the way, but if we can go back, unless you guys were born into board games, how did you guys get into tabletop board gaming as it is today or just yesteryear or whatnot? If we start with you, Corey, and then Richard, you can go ahead and answer after if that works for you guys.
So I'm a longtime board gamer, but I actually have some young kids, not young anymore, but 9 and 11-year-olds, and over time I was interested in doing a collectible or some type of board game for the kids, and so started working on this with Richard about a year ago, and we've spent the last year working through it together, and we've come up with something pretty cool and that we're proud of. And so that's my background, just trying to get back some fun in the analog world and in board gaming.
Cool. What about yourself, Richard? How did you get into tabletop board gaming?
I was a young kid who liked board games, but they were all abstract games. So I did all the Chinese checkers, the mastermind, the chess, the checkers, that kind of stuff. So that I found them interesting. As I got into my teens, it was more like war games, Stratego, the European style games, because I lived in Sweden at the time. And more recently, just games that I can play with my family, with my kids.
Cool. Now, besides Centrix, do you guys have favorite board games at the current time? Because I'd let you pick your own game as your favorite, but my audience might drag me out into the street and have me hung, unfortunately.
Well, for a while, the family was into the deck building game called Dominion. We've probably got 7 sets. So when my youngest son turned about 7. We got the base game for a Christmas present, and then liked it and enjoyed it, and then started taking it on trips, and then ended up getting a lot of the expansion sets. So that's probably one of them that we liked. So I think we're up to the 7th expansion set. The other one we like is Blockus. That's always a really good abstract game that you can always come back to. It's always different, and the folks and the kids have a lot of fun with both those games. The common theme there is you can play those games either just as adults, or kids can play against each other, or kids can play adults. So, and that's kind of inspired our development on Centrix a little bit.
Cool bean. So yeah, you talk about Dominion. I know people have talked to that. I have yet to play that, but I'm really a fan of the deck builder. What about Blockus? Is that like Tetris, or what can you tell us about Blockus? I haven't played that.
Yeah, it's a little bit like I guess it's a Tetris. It's a square board, and each player has different types of pieces that kind of look like Tetris pieces. And the whole idea is to place as many of your pieces on the board. And have the least amount of points at the end of the game. And so it's a really good one. There's a little bit of strategy. It's super easy to set up, and you can play it multiple times, and it doesn't take too long to play.
Cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And you talked about war games, Richard, if I recall.
Well, that was in my teens. I used to like them a lot, yeah. But I'm still pretty much an abstractor. So, like today, if I can sit down to like a Pentago, a Pente, even a Blockus, Connect Four, those kinds of games are still my games. In fact, I only learned Blockus 3 years ago. It turns out I was just naturally really good at it, and now nobody will play with me.
So do you and Corey get together to play that?
No, I don't think we have played that actually.
Oh boy, there you go. He probably worried about you win him.
I think probably that's why he's like, you know.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Richard's pretty good at board games, and very competitive.
Well, there you go.
It's always fun to play against him.
So what do you guys play against each other?
Well, I mean, we play Centrix against each other ad nauseum and have for the last year. So yeah, I mean, we've been developing this thing forever now, it seems, but yeah. We don't seem to have much recreational gaming, I guess, for that reason.
Well, there you go. That makes sense. Who's the reigning champion? Would you say? Are you guys tied, even, and split?
I have good days, but he has good days too. So it's pretty even.
Well, there you go. So as it's come up and whatnot, the word on the street is you guys have a new game on Kickstarter called Centrix. What can you guys tell us about it?
It's round, it spins, it's 3D, it's got 6 levels. The board changes with every single move. We take it out in public. It gets people stopping in their tracks because they've never seen anything like this, and it plays like nothing else you've ever played. When the board changes with your move, and you got to kind of move sideways in order to move upwards, it's just unusual. There's nothing like it out there.
Cool. And it sounds like it was inspired by Dominion and Block, as you said, Corey?
I wouldn't say it was inspired by either of those. Those are games I liked. It's a real interesting combination of games. At least that's what we've been told. Because the board moves after every player's move. It's got a little bit of strategy, a little bit of kind of abstract nature of kind of moving pawns or pieces up the board. But I would say it'd be more inspired by, I don't know, a combination of all the games that we liked over the years. It's got cards in the game. It's got pawns and pieces. It's got this amazing, colorful board. And that was one of the things that we have really focused on because after we had done a few prototypes, it was evident to us that we were onto something with this amazing, beautiful board. And so, it's inspired by a lot of different things, I would say, but probably nothing in particular that I can think of. It plays a lot like, a Blockus or another abstract game that people might like, but it also has got some strategy, like a Stratego or like maybe not to the extent of chess, but it's got some strategy in terms of, how you move your pieces up the board and how you calculate those moves.
Cool. Now, are the cards, I've seen 2 different styles of cards. Are they going to be round or are they more card-shaped?
We are introducing them as card-shaped, standard poker-sized cards. But yes, we have as a stretch goal the round cards because it's thematically more in keeping with them, but it is more expensive to produce.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because looking at some of the pictures and whatnot, I want to say it reminds me kind of like a Rubik's cube kind of. And then if I look at the round cards, it's like me and my family, before we got into board gaming, what it is now, I was big into Uno and collect all the different kind of Unos. And it reminds me of a travel size Uno we had where it comes like in a little case and all the cards are round. So that's kind of what it reminds me of.
Yeah, similar, I suppose, in that regard. Actually, I could describe it in one funny little way, the board, the way it moves. Did you ever see the movie Harry Potter and Hogwarts, and when they're going up those stairs that all the time are moving?
No, actually, I haven't, but I did a while back ago when I first started on the Google Movies. They had a deal where you get get movies like box sets or something off of 50% off. So I ended up buying all 5 videos, but have yet to watch them, unfortunately.
Well, all right. This is one scene where in the beginning they climbing up these stairs to get to the next floor to get to their houses. Well, anyway, the stairs are moving continuously. That's this board game. Your board is moving all the time.
So it's like an escalator.
Well, yeah, that you're using the sideways movements of the board in order to escalate, in order to move upwards. Exactly.
So if we were to sit down and play it together, how would play look? I mean, how would it sound? This is a podcast after all.
Yeah, there's cards that have 1, 2, or 3 on them, and those actually allow you to spin the board. And there are colors on the cards which allow you to move up to those spaces, those color spaces. And so when you spin the board, it's like if you were to collapse a board game into 6 or 7 6 levels, and you'd move the board with your finger, let's say 3 spaces for the spin card, and it's pretty smooth. I mean, you don't really hear anything. It's we think we've designed something pretty smooth. I guess you would have a little bit of a sound, but to be honest, it's super smooth when you actually spin the board.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the only thing you hear actually is the groan of your opponent when you bump him down or when you jump over, leapfrog like 3 pawns or something, because you can do that too. The board movement part, the pawn movement parts, they're independent of the card, in effect.
Well, there you go. Cool. So looking at the cards and whatnot, just from what you have on the Kickstarter. So, if per se I'm on a color, whatnot, do I have to be next to that color then to move to it? Like if I put the card down of red, I wouldn't be able to jump over to a green, would I? Unless it's right next to each other, I guess.
Yeah, the color card you play is the square that you're moving to. Has to match every time.
Cool. So how would we play? How does play go down of the game? Like if we were to sit down, how to play, I guess.
Okay, so everyone's off the board. You got 3 pawns. You got 3 cards. You want to try to play all 3 cards because they're kind of like your fuel. You want to get up. You want to use up your fuel as much as possible. Very simply, you can put 1 pawn on each color square that matches your card. So you get all 3 pawns up. Or you can put 1 pawn on and use another card to spin and move up to a second level, and use a third color to potentially move up to a third level. So play it a little more cautiously. You're less exposed. You got fewer pawns on the board in case you don't want to get bumped, and then you come up with your other pawns later on. There's different strategies that way.
Okay, how do we knock each other down? Or you talked of also a leapfrog element.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you just play the card that is your opponent's same color as your opponent is, provided they're right in front of you or to the side of you, perhaps. And you take them down, and they move down 2. What's cool is if they move down 2 and there's another pawn there, that pawn moves down 2 as well. Leapfrogging, same idea. If you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns in front of you, for that matter, as long as you've got the color card that you're going to land on above those pawns that are in front of you, you're good to go. You fly over them.
Cool, and you have to get all 3 up to the top to win?
Yeah, that's correct. And I was just going to say, Blake, the fun becomes when you can have a great time with 2 players, but when you get up to 4, 5, 6 players, there is a lot of bumping and jumping that's taking place. And all the play testing we've done with adults and kids, to be honest, everyone's a little bit different in terms of how they approach the strategy, whether they are having a good time with their friends and are friendly to them and just want to get up and jump the other opponent's pawns or their own. And then there are some that, just want to have a very evil and nasty game, and they'll bump their opponents. It really depends on your moves and your strategy that you're trying to employ to get those 3 pawns to the top.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Corey likes bumping. I like jumping. So we're opposites that way.
There you go, bumping and jumping, cool. So yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, it looks like a really cool game or whatnot. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I really like it. Just looking at the box, it looks like it reminds me of like an '80s game. I don't know if that's what you were going for, '80s or '90s game. It looks like looking at the back of the box and whatnot.
Actually, we were just going for the colors of the game itself. We were really proud of Michael Christopher, the illustrator, who's in Seattle, who really helped us out there. We kind of said, "Hey, this is what the game looks like," but we are relying on you to help us out with what the box should look like.
Cool. Yeah, that's what I meant to ask. Through the playtesting and whatnot, what's a sweet spot? Is there a sweet spot of how many players or?
I mean, Richard and I played it, two on, or just the two of us. I don't know how many times, hundreds of times. When you get into 4 or 5 players, because there's more pieces on the board, that can create some really fun times with your group. It's there's a bit of strategy because you got to think about your move, but I would say 4 players is kind of the ideal scenario for this game. But if you've got a group of 6, which there are some parties that people have and bigger families, this is a great game for that too. There's a lot more bumping and jumping, and we've seen some amazing moves that folks have done of lining up, not lining up their own pieces, but lining up multiple pieces in a row in, let's say, 4 or 5 rows to do these. I don't know what we would call them, these massive jump moves, and so that's been really interesting with more players. But Richard and I played it, just the two of us, many times as well. So sweet spot's probably 4, I would say. I don't know how you feel about that, Richard, but it's anywhere kind of between 2 and 6, but 4 is probably our ideal setup.
Okay, this is how I describe it. 2 is a playable game. It's fun. It's quick. 4 is a lot of fun. There's never a clear winner. It always comes down to the very last move. Like, it's very, very close. 6 is absolutely crazy.
Cool, that's awesome. So during playtesting, was there ever anything that you guys had to scrap because it just wouldn't work?
Oh, yeah. Lots. Oh, it's crazy, man. Yeah, we were like, originally we were trying, spin the discs with dice and then use playing color cards. And that was a disaster. It was terrible. And then we had separate color cards and spinning cards. And that just created a bunch up at the top that, you just kept drawing cards. It wasn't working at all. And then the worst actually was we finally came up with something like more or less what we had, but we had 4 pawns and there was 4 cards and you could draw another card, which could mean you could draw 2 more cards. And that's when we got into playtesting with really high quality playtesters or designers, I should say, here in Toronto. And they really helped us out in that way. They trimmed it down from like a 40-minute game down to 20 to 30 minutes. And that's when we hit the jackpot in terms of making it really fun and playable, but not tedious.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So you're able to knock down some of the play and figure out the great mechanics or whatnot. That's awesome. So what about what part of the game are you guys most proud of? I don't know if you guys can, I guess you could have the same answer or whatnot or different answers, but what makes you most proud of Centrix?
Makes me most proud of Centrix.
Yeah, I have an answer, but you go ahead, Corey, but I totally have an answer, yeah.
I think the thing that makes me most proud is it's really hard to design we've seen a lot of games, and it's really hard to design a game where you have fun, where the mechanics are simple for people to understand right out of the box, and the board is so colorful. So I really think, those 3 things, the combination of kind of having fun, simple but good mechanics of a game, and then this really interesting board that's totally unique. And those are kind of the 3 things that I'm most proud of.
Yeah, for me, it's totally her look. We take her out to restaurants or out in public all the time. And every single time people stop in their tracks, they take a look at, they always want to know, what is that? She's just gorgeous. We've got a ton of pictures on Instagram, Centrix Game, and she's just a beautiful game.
Cool. That's awesome. Yes, it looks really pretty. Just the few pictures that you guys have up on the Kickstarters.
Thanks.
So, per se, somebody's fallen asleep. It wouldn't be because of you guys or your great game. It would probably be because of they're sick of hearing my voice. Of let's see, by the time of this recording, it's the 23rd of February, and I already have 27 episodes, our 27th episode of the year released this morning. So they're getting a little bit sick of my voice sometimes. But now they're suddenly awake. They're jolted awake so they don't hit the oncoming traffic, and you have their full attention. Why should they take a chance on Centrix, especially with all the other great board games they have currently on Kickstarter?
It's not taking a chance. This game is going to be in every single game collection everywhere. It's just a new way of playing board games. Yes, it's an abstract, but you know what? The theme guys have sat down and played this game. And after 5 rounds, they're still sitting there trying to figure out what's the best strategy up. I want to crack this, baby. So that's the reason why this game is big.
Well, there you go. Cool. Beans. What about yourself? Do you have anything to add, Corey, on why they should back this game here on the Kickstarters?
That's exactly it. I think our kind of vision around this whole the whole Centrix game is that we really think it can be a classic in everyone's home, and I don't think people would be taking any risk on it. I think it would be a great addition to any gamer's, quiver of games. And if they're thinking about game night, and you've got 3 or 4 hours set up, Centrix is a great game to start off with to get everybody warmed up, or it's a great game to end it. End the night. It's a really quick playing 20 to 30 minutes game. You're not gonna have to sit down for a few hours to read the rules. I just think it's obviously we're a bit biased here, but it will be a great family game and a great just a party game for folks. And if you just want to sit down with your buddy and play it.
Well, yeah, I was about to say that. You guys are a bit biased, but you have me convinced as long as my tax money can get here. It looks like it would need to be here so I can back it before the 12th of March. Is that correct?
Yeah, please. Before the 12th of March, get your money in. We want to be out there with Centrix everywhere.
There you go. Yeah. Just hearing you guys talk about it and looking at the Kickstarter page, I'm pretty excited about it. But I know they could take you guys' word for it. But like you said, Corey, you're a little biased. Is there so per se they want to get a little bit more people's word on it? Is there any notable reviewers or any YouTube videos or reviewers out there that might be talking about it as well that they could go check out?
I would say the Bearded Meeple did a nice review of the game. Completely blind. We didn't know him, and he did a really professional review. He actually called it an instant classic, so that was incredible for us as game designers to hear that. So you can find him on Twitter and Facebook, Tyler Anderson, the Bearded Meeple.
Okay, cool. And it looks like you also have a video there on your Kickstarter page as well.
Yeah, actually, other people too. Jeff Lai, he's a published game designer. He said, "Hey, this is a really, really awesome mainstream game." Chris Chang, the designer of Lanterns, he was funny. He said, "I don't play abstract games." But at the end of it, he played 2 rounds, and he said, "Finally, someone broke Sorry." That was his comment.
There you go. Cool. Yeah, I tried to pick up Sorry. I know I loved it when I was a kid, and a few years back ago, we tried to pick it up to play with the kids, but it just wasn't what it used to be cracked up to be, at least for me.
Well, then you definitely got to try Centrix.
Well, there you go. And are you guys on any other podcasts?
No, we're not yet.
Okay, well, there you go. So hopefully, depending on what happens next week, or if I don't know if you guys have anything lined up, but hopefully, especially with all the podcasts out there, whatnot, hopefully you can hear that you heard about Centrix first here on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. I always like to say that if I can.
Awesome.
There you go. Cool. Now, I don't know if you guys have had an opportunity to listen to any of our podcasts, but the next portion is called Adventures in Application Acquisition, where we talk about an app, be it for a cell phone, a tablet, a computer, or even a video game that it doesn't even have to be related to board games. I know you guys are going for the whole analog thing, but jumping back into the digital world for a minute, if we could, is there an app that you guys either you can pick one collectively, or it'd probably be better if you both have one, but is there an app you guys use a lot of that we can talk about just for a moment? It doesn't have to be related to board games. A while back ago, we had somebody who had an app where you can take a picture of anything and it'll tell you whether or not it's a hot dog or not.
Yeah, well, it's Corey here. I love an app called Surpriise with 2 I's, Surpriise, and that's a really interesting one if you want to give someone a surprise. So someone that's done something nice to you, or there's a special holiday, and you give them a surprise. It's an app. It's got a gift card built into it, and it's also got some games that the receiver has to play and has to win in order for them to get their surprise. And there's obviously different levels of the game, but I just happen to know the founder and the guy that developed it, and I just grew a liking to it, and then started to use it for my friends. When something happened nice, or someone did something nice, or for a holiday, it's like a Hallmark card on steroids, and it allows you to kind of give them a gift, but it allows you to have a lot of fun while you're giving them the gift.
There you go. Cool. That sounds really cool. You said you know the designer. What's his name or her name?
I know the founder, Robert Balahura. Awesome guy, and it's taken them about a few years to kind of get it off the ground, and especially when you're doing stuff in the financial services space, it's not the easiest to get something off the ground, and they've managed to do something I think that's pretty compelling. Yeah, and they were featured, I believe, on the Ellen show maybe a year ago. And that was pretty cool. As soon as I saw them on there, I thought, wow, these guys this small Toronto firm has really made it.
Yeah, I want to check it out. Is that on both Android and iOS?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Next thing we're going to hear about Centrix on there, huh?
I hope so.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Corey, is that a paid or a free app?
It's a free app.
But then you have to pay for the gift card or whatnot?
In Canada and in the U.S.
But then you have to pay for the gift card or whatnot?
Yeah, if you're giving something, like if you, let's say, you want to give someone an Amazon gift card or a gift to a restaurant, you would pay for that, and straightforward, just like you'd normally give someone a prepaid gift. But the fun is not just in the gift part of it. The fun is in the kind of the way that it's set up. I think there's like 5 or 6 different games. Like you shoot hoops into a basket, or you collect these different characters, and there's like different degrees of difficulty. So if you really want to make that person work for that gift, you can set the extremely difficult level. Or if you really want to be nice, you can make it super easy so that they solve the game. And only once they solve the game do they actually get the gift.
So what about if they don't win? The gift card just goes into limbo?
Yeah, it goes into limbo. They usually get a call from the person saying, were you able to solve the game? I haven't had that happen yet.
Cool. I know you know the designer and everything, and we're not as famous as the Ellen show, I don't think, at least. So probably they're not listening right now, but hopefully in the future they will be. If you owned the rights to this to Surpriise, what would be one thing you would do to make it better?
Ooh, that's difficult. With any of these types of applications, It's how big of an audience you have. You don't necessarily have to have the app to receive a gift, but it's a little bit easier if you have the app, obviously. So to make it better, it's fun. Anything that's fun where you can give something to someone else, in my mind, is a big hit. So I would say that they don't really have anything to work on. It's more a matter of, like a lot of things, is people don't know about these things, and there are so many apps available today that it's just kind of getting the word out.
Yeah, I know. Before the show started, we were talking about there's just a plethora of podcasts, and it seems to be the same way with apps.
Totally agree.
So yeah, hopefully they'll hear about it. I know they heard about it on the Ellen show, but maybe for people who haven't necessarily watched that, maybe they'll be able to hear it first time here on Getting Geeky with Game Relief.
That's right, and it's Surpriise with 2 eyes.
There you go, and we'll make sure we leave a link to that, as well as everything we talked about, especially Centrix, the board game, on our show notes, so you don't have to go be jumbling around on your phone, or like I said, if you've fallen asleep and you just woken up and got surprised and liked the game or whatnot and want to check it out, we'll leave that link so you can just click it. What about yourself, Richard? Is there an app you use a lot of that we can talk about for a moment?
There's an app I use a lot of, but my favorite one is a different one. So yeah, I play Words with Friends Scrabble every day. And you'll notice I'm just a total geeky guy. My other favorite app is Grog Knots. I love to know which knot I need to tie when I need to tie it. And I've saved a lot of people's asses out of am I allowed to say that? Anyway, I've saved their butts out of a forest with my compass and a map. So I was very proud of that. But I do love Splice, and I'm just learning Splice and video making. So I'm like a beginner in this, and I love the idea of being able to just edit movies very quickly, little clips that I take and put them together and put them to music. It's just a lot of fun for me. So I guess these are just total geeky apps, and I love them. What would I say to make it better? Nothing. I would just say, hey, we're just waiting for the Centrix app someday, I guess. How's that?
Yeah, when's that coming out? Do we know?
Well, we need to get this baby launched first. But yeah, for sure. It's an obvious appable kind of game, too. You'd be able to play it just like I play Words with Friends Scrabble every day.
Well, there you go. Cool. That'd be awesome. So yeah, go ahead and back this game, back Centrix, and then look for hopefully the app to come out later. But hopefully you'll be pros by the time that comes out. And now at the end of your Kickstarter video, you guys talked about you were off to make other games or whatnot. Sorry to have interrupted the flow or whatnot with the podcast, but what are some of the other games that you guys are up to?
A key one is actually leveraging off Centrix. So Corey has really wanted to create a travel version of Centrix, and that's actually more difficult to do than you'd think. And then some other concepts behind how Centrix can be played differently. It can be themed Centrix, in other words, or different mechanisms for doing that climb up the top. We really haven't ironed anything out permanently because obviously we're so focused on what we're doing now, but those are some kind of in the hopper pipeline concept ideas that we've both bashed around.
Well, that's pretty cool. So I don't want to keep you all night and everything or whatnot, especially if it's later there. But minus coming there to your hometown there in Canada, how would people go about minus coming there to your hometown there in Canada to stalk you personally, how would people go about finding out about you guys or what you have coming up, or even just more about Centrix?
We have, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Kickstarter. Obviously, we want people to go to Kickstarter. We're on Facebook, but you can search by Centrix for Centrix game or Centrix for any one of those, but we'd love people to go to the Kickstarter page and pledge there.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so make sure you go check out the Kickstarter page. And yeah, we'll go ahead and like I said, we'll leave everything in the show notes so they can be able to find it there. And if you're interested in it, if you liked what you heard or whatnot, and you want to hear more, go ahead and make sure you're subscribed to Getting Geeky with Game Relief. For some reason, iTunes and all the other apps, they have it all spelled out as one word, or you can go to our website at GameReliefGo.com. It's kind of like Pokemon Go, but it's GameReliefGo.com instead. So there's that for you. And yeah, like I said, we'll leave the show, everything in the show notes or whatnot. Any parting words about Centrix from either of you?
Hey, I just want to say thank you very much, Game Relief. We like being here. This was fun.
No problem. I'm glad you guys could make it. I appreciate it.
It's time for Kickstarter Corner. To begin now.
You heard her, folks. It's time for Kickstarter Corner. Bringing you a couple great games, so let's see what we've got on the dockets today, shall we? First off, we've got Dungeons of Infinity. Dungeons of Infinity is a board game for 1 to 5 players. It features random dungeon creation, solo, co-op, competitive, or story mode. This is brought to you by Jack Sporner. I'm kind of frustrated at some of the backers. I don't know what's going on, but they keep dropping out. We keep going above 17,000, below 7. We keep dropping back and forth from 17,000, which is about 33 or 34%. I'm really hoping this project really is able to fund. I really liked it when we played it. The art has changed a little bit, but that was just prototype when I played it. But this is an awesome game. You get a lot of stuff in your box. I'm not going to lie. Even though they're not miniatures and it's $60, you get a lot in your box. It's a fun game. Even Barbarian Leaf liked it. How is that for a cool game? Yes, sirree, Bob. Then we've got a new one. We've got Liminal RPG. I hope I pronounced that right. Liminal RPG. Liminal is a self-contained tabletop role-playing game about people caught in between the everyday modern world and the world of magic. How cool is that? This project, I think they launched today, and they also funded today. How cool is that? So you've got 29 days to get on the bandwagon. They end Thursday the 29th of March. Check it out on the Kickstarters. Once again, we'll leave the link in the show notes. You know the routine, I hope so. Then we've got Infinities, Defiance of Fate, a strategic adventure game with resource management, map building, dice drafting, and infinite replay value for 2 to 4 players. They're going strong. They've got about 22 days to go. They end on the 22nd of March. Check them out on the Kickstarters as well. And then we've got Arkon. Arkon is a fast-paced, non-linear strategy card game that employs a unique bidding-based resource system and multi-use cards. I really like this one. You know what I really like even better than that? I love the handmade wooden box that comes at the bottom of the bottom. Yeah, it's one of the actual last shipping, one of the actual last things on there, and that's pretty cool. I think I'm gonna sneak in and get it during your Kickstarter corner. You think so? I think so, because I really love it. Let's see here. What one is it? It's get a copy, handcraft. Okay, 1 unique art promo card, 1 copy of Arkon, 1 handcrafted laser engraved wooden box. Get a copy of Arkon, housed in a beautiful handcrafted wooden box with laser engraving. This tier comes with all the stretch goals and a unique gold bordered art promo card. Oh, buddy. Should we not? Should we not? Loving the wood box, and that would be awesome. I really like this game. It's a fun keeper for the Leafs. Well, the tax return just come in, and I say we do it. Shall we? We'll do it. Okay. If it will go. Okay. Arkon has been pledged on. Like I said, it has 3 days to go. So make sure you get on that and check it. So yeah, definitely. And then we've also got Anklebiters, Pixies versus Gremlins. Pixies and Gremlins face off in this light strategy whimsical card game. And this has 8 days to go, so about 7 when you hear this. They end the 8th of March. They funded in 36 hours. This was a relaunch. Go ahead and watch the movie. It is amazing art. I wonder if Lady Leaf would like this game. I will have to approach her about it and see what she thinks. I'll keep it open. Then next of all, we have I Am the Greatest, Hero Edition. a hip pocket superhero card game, fast-paced play, great fun, and unique art. Each game is different. Become the greatest hero. Check this one out on the Kickstarters. They're trying to get money for the art and whatnot. I hope if they don't make it, I hope they relaunch. But they go through the 16th of March. Check it out on the Kickstarters. Don't forget that one of our fans, who is Eric, and he's also the Mighty Meeple, did a preview video on the Mighty Meeple YouTube channel. Check it out on the Kickstarters on YouTube or whatnot. Okay, well, it sounds like Lady Leaf is beckoning and calling me to answer some information. So I will go ahead and let y'all go. But you know what this has been? This has been Getting Geeky with Game Relief. And you know what we'll do next? We will catch you all, you guessed it, on the flip side. Game Relief out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.